Speaking of crazy eyes, you know in It, the Skarsgård guy who plays Pennywise, he can do that
at
shit
will.
that he did with his at will.
Yeah.
And there's like these photos of him sitting with Bill Hader. He's like dressed up as Pennywise, like they're just talking and stuff. And then all of a sudden he does it while he's talking to Bill. And it's just like a couple of photos, right? Like this is the moment Bill Hader realized that he could actually do that on Will. And so the first photo is him like talking and kind of laughing. The next photo, he's like, oh! He's like it's like a horrified look on his face. It's so funny. It's like a perfect little story in two pictures.
What a unique ability to have, dude. Like to be able to control it.
Right?
Shit. You think the people that have it permanently are like, fuck you.
Yeah, totally.
It's like, hey, I'm skinny, but I can become fat at will. Like, no, I want to be skinny. Fuck you, motherfucker. I could grow my hair, Mike, at will.
Or that you can just eat as much as you want and never get fat. Juve, I'm talking about you.
Juve.
That man can eat more than anyone I've ever seen in my life.
Like a food escape artist or, magician.
I told you, he is a tapeworm. He is a tapeworm in human form. Like,
his tapeworms have tapeworms, is what you're saying.
He's got to feed the tapeworm.
His worm looks like the fucking worm from Dune.
Yeah, exactly.
He's got a little Paul Atreides like riding it.
In a world of bad movies, two follically challenged men will stop at nothing to share their opinions of them. Their wives are tired of listening, but are you? This isn't the podcast you deserve, but it's the one you need. Prepare yourself for Bald Guys and Bad Movies.
Welcome to Bald Guys and Bad Movies, episode 73. I am Troy. Here with my good buddy,
Mike Stella.
Mike.
Stella!
Hello, Mike.
Hello, Troy.
How dry are you over there? Is it wet? You got any drips on you?
I do have a couple drips. I got a few leaks, but they're not like crazy heavy leaks. They're slow leaks. So
are these newly discovered leaks or?
No, these leaks have been around, and we paid some dude to fix them, some guy we know, and
oh boy, nothing ever ends well when it starts with I paid some dude.
No, he's a roofer.
He does it for a trade.
Yeah, he does good work. It's just they're weird leaks. They're just in weird places. So
wait, what's a weird leak and what's a weird place? Like what constitutes weird?
It's a funky place. He thought that it was actually leaking from this little area, but he thinks it's the vent itself. Like stuff's just getting in that vent and then leaking down.
I thought you meant like surreal, like it was leaking sideways or a drop forming from the floor and leaking up.
No.
Okay.
No. And the other ones are
Can
just
we just
vents.
pretend that's what you said? Because that'd be much more compelling.
You can pretend whatever you want, Troy.
Okay. So, Mike, what are we reviewing this week?
This week, we are reviewing the Oscar-nominated film, The Holdovers, I believe, right?
Yeah, you want to say that with more confidence, though?
Sure.
The Holdovers?
This week, we are reviewing the Oscar-nominated film, The Holdovers.
Every year at Barton Academy, students, faculty, and staff depart the campus for a 2-week winter break. But there are always an unfortunate few who have nowhere to go for the holidays. They're known as the Holdovers.
Mr. Hunnam.
Hello, Mary.
I heard you got stuck with babysitting duty this year. How'd you manage that?
You know, he used to be a student, right? Yeah, that's why he knows how to inflict maximum pain on us.
I thought all the Nazis were hiding in Argentina.
Stifle it, Tully.
You just earned yourself a detention, sir.
Being here with you is already one big detention.
Son of a bitch, that's another detention.
Do you think I want to be babysitting you? No, I was praying your mother would pick up the phone or your father would arrive in a helicopter or a flying saucer.
My father's
to take you
dead.
You don't tell a boy that's been left behind at Christmas that nobody wants him? What's wrong with you?
There's nobody here, okay? You stay out of my way, and I'll stay out of yours.
Let me sleep. Now, most of the kids dislike you, pretty much hate you. Teachers, too. You know that, right?
I find the world a bitter and complicated place, and it seems to feel the same way about me. I think you and I have this in common. I don't think I've ever had a real family Christmas like this before. Thank you, Mary.
You're welcome.
History is not simply the study of the past, it is an explanation of the present.
See, when you say it that way and throw in some pornography, it's a lot easier to understand.
No matter what you are.
I'd like to propose a toast to my two unlikely companions.
Are you trying to lick down my shirt?
No. Yes.
You're gonna get me fired.
This is your Rubicon. Do not cross the Rubicon.
The Holdovers.
The Holdovers is a 2023 American comedy drama directed by Alexander Payne, written by David Hemmingson. Set in December 1970 and January 1971, the film stars Paul Giamatti as a strict classics teacher at a New England boarding school who is forced to chaperone a handful of students with nowhere to go on Christmas break. Divine Joy Randolph and Dominic Sessa respectively plays the school cafeteria manager and one of the students who stays on campus. It came out, actually came out late last year. Did a little bit of a box office, 35 million. It's on Peacock. So Mike, what'd you think of The Holdovers?
I liked it. It transcended a period piece into a movie made during that period. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it felt very authentic.
It was made to feel like it was shot in 1970, and they did a great job with it. Music was great. Pacing felt like a 1970s movie, in a good way. Like it felt like taking a break from the fast-paced films that we all see nowadays. So I really enjoyed it.
Same here. Everything you said is true. It felt like having a really satisfying meal that you've forgotten that you used to enjoy. You know what I mean? Like, and I didn't find it, I'm not saying you found it slow, but it was perfectly paced and superbly confident in what it was trying to do. You know what I mean? It was a great character piece, a great character study, driven by performances. So I think we're both saying we recommend this.
Absolutely.
High recommend.
Well, let me put it this way. I did not expect to watch the whole thing last night. I thought I was going to like get an hour in and then maybe go to bed and pick it up this morning. But at an hour in, I was into it. Mom, you got to see this movie. Mom, this is definitely for you and Dad both.
Yeah, I was going to say Ray would probably dig this too.
They would love it. They would love it.
That's not to say this movie's for older folks.
No.
Like, if you just want well-made filmmaking, it was set in the 70s,
1970.
Yeah, and it turned to 71 with New Year's Eve.
Because Little Big Man came out in December 1970.
And even some of the camera work, beyond just the grade, the film grade, it was shot digitally, by the way. So,
oh yeah, I knew they added it all. I mean, there's no point. Like these auteurs feel like, oh, I have to shoot film to get the look I want. You're a fucking pretentious douchebag. No, you don't.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Embrace the technology, boys.
Exactly.
You want the record pops? We could put that in digitally.
Exactly. The technology, we have the technology to not only shoot it well, but to downgrade it once we shoot it well and make it look however we want it to look. Yeah, the camera work, not just the funny, fast, like zoom outs, you know, that happened, I think, once during it, but just the way it would hold on shots for long periods of time. And I will say, like, those opening shots in the film, each one was a photograph. You know what I mean? Like, it was just gorgeous. Yeah, I was blown away by the cinematography and the look of this movie. I really enjoyed it.
And it made me think, not in terms of the plot, but just in terms of the dynamics of like a Dead Poet Society or Goodwill Hunting, in terms of a flawed mentor who becomes like a surrogate parent for, you know, a kid or a struggling kid, someone with a lot of potential that the world just is like crushing. So yeah, well, that's a recommend. So I guess we can get into it. Paul Giamatti, I love this fucking guy.
I love everything I see him in, man.
He has not been in anything, and that probably includes the Frankie Muniz. What was that movie?
The
Liar, Big Fat Liar.
Fat Liar.
Was that what it was called?
Blue, where they turned him blue.
Yeah. First time I saw Paul Giamatti was in Private Parts, the Howard Stern movie. Did you ever see that?
Yeah. The Howard Stern movie, definitely. Definitely saw that.
Which was a really good movie, by the way. Pig Vomit was the character he played.
You took the show right off the air. Why'd you take the show off the air for, Pig Vomit? Huh? Pig Vomit, open up.
Funny, Howard.
Oh, it's not funny? What are you talking about? It is funny. I think it's very funny. And how would you know what's funny anyway?
You're not bringing that in.
I don't see anybody in here to meet. Do you?
You gotta go.
I gotta go. Why do I have to go? Why don't you explain to my audience why you had to shut down the show? You
I don't
explain to
answer
us
to you,
right
Stern.
now.
I don't
Yes, you do,
answer
you big
to you,
idiot
okay?
scumbag. To me, I'm your boss. I'm your boss. I'm your boss.
Let's go.
Hey, what's this? What's
No.
this? Robin, is everybody's salary on his desk?
God damn it, get out of here.
He hit me, Robin. He's hit me.
Get out.
I heard that Howard Stern says that he wasn't allowed to improvise anything until the very, very final monologue, and then he was allowed to improvise that, and I think they did it in one shot.
Did you see Sideways? Because that's the same director.
Yeah. I loved Sideways.
It's been a long time since I've seen Sideways. I definitely
Sideways
saw
is
it.
really good. I really, really liked it.
Excuse me, could I get the pour down here? Sure.
There's a special on the Syrah by the case.
Hit me again. Excuse me. Could you just pour me a full glass? I'll pay for it, okay?
Sir, this is a winery, not a bar.
Oh. Just give me a full goddamn pour.
Excuse me. Why don't you buy a bottle and go outside? What are you doing?
Told you I need a drink, so I'm gonna help myself, okay, pal? What do you think? Let go of the fucking glass, fucker!
I can watch him in anything. Like, he's just great. Didn't he play John Adams too once in an HBO thing, I believe?
Yes, he did. The first thing I remember seeing him in is The Truman Show.
Okay.
He was the control room director.
Okay, we're going to be accessing the weather program now. So hold on to your hats. You got that? No. I think we're going to want to localize a storm over the boat.
Now, Dominic Sessa, this is his first film.
Oh, really?
One of the locations that they shot this at 5 different schools in New England.
Oh, really?
He's a student, or he was a student at one of the schools. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah. So, for a first film, fucking fantastic performance by
Yeah, he
that
did a
kid,
really
dude.
good job. He did a really good job.
Divine Randolph as the cafeteria worker, tremendous performance.
She was good.
She is nominated, I believe. Oscar, I believe. Yes, Best Supporting Actress. She is nominated.
Nice.
And
Yeah, she was
Giamatti's
good.
nominated. And I think that kid should have been nominated, to be honest. Like, if you're going to nominate those two.
I mean, I don't think he was as good as the other two. I mean, I felt like he was good because he had those two to act off of. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I think he did it. He did a tremendous job because, especially acting against Paul Giamatti, like, if you ain't bringing your A game, like, he may have made that kid rise to the challenge, but he was able to do it, right?
Yeah,
when
but
they shared screen, it never felt like Giamatti was dominating, right? They were both, like, at least to me, like, equally compelling.
Yeah, but I also think that has to do with the fact that a good actor, you know, a rising tide, you know, raises all ships. And having
English, Mike.
What?
No, I'm joking. Go ahead. Your metaphors.
Well, this is coming from Mr. Metaphor. At least I used a real metaphor. I'm not making up my own shit on the fly. But what I was going to say was a good actor, especially acting across from someone like the kid who, you know, I thought he was pretty good, but if he didn't have a really great actor to bounce off of, I don't think he would have come off as good as he actually did. I really don't think he would have.
Yeah, but he did, though. I guess I'm confused. He gave a good performance, but you're saying...
Right.
That diminishes.
I don't think he would have given as good a performance if he was acting someone not as good as Paul Giamatti.
How was he in the role with the other kids when he shared scenes with them? Was his acting?
I didn't think he was as good, to tell you the truth. I thought he was less believable when he was acting with the other kids. I felt like he really hit his stride when he was in scenes with Paul Giamatti, personally.
All right.
When they were like bickering and being annoying with each other.
Yeah, but those scenes require different things, though. Like, sure. With Giamatti, that's when the real backstory with him and the real, like, layered performances, because that's just the way it's scripted. Like, he wasn't required with his, because with the other kids, it was more of an antagonistic, you know, typical kid, right. Fuck you, motherfucker kind of thing. He's not going to open himself up to them because everyone's all guarded and lashing
Well,
out.
I'm not talking about him opening himself up. I'm just saying I felt his performance in those scenes was not as good as in the scenes when he was acting Paul Giamatti.
So when he was acting as a prick, he wasn't believable as a young prick?
I did not think he was as good as when he was acting against Paul Giamatti. I don't, because there was plenty of scenes when he was being a prick with Paul Giamatti, and I thought he was better in those scenes. I don't think. I mean, I thought he was good. I mean, but I didn't think he was amazing. I don't think he deserves to be nominated for an Oscar. I'll guarantee you that.
Well, I don't think he. I really think he. I thought he was pretty good. You know what I mean? I thought he was pretty damn good, especially considering it's his first movie. But I do think he was better in the scenes acting against Giamatti. For me, I can see that, but I think he had more meaty morsels of emotional back and forth between him and Giamatti, as opposed to
but I'm not talking
else.
But I'm not talking about, he felt deeper during those scenes. I thought he gave a better performance during those scenes, regardless of whether or not he was being deep and introspective. I personally thought that when he was acting against the kids, he was less believable. In fact, I didn't really care too much about this movie until we really got him and Giamatti together.
Left.
Yeah, like up until then, I was kind of like, okay, it's good, but I could still see myself checking out after an hour to go to bed.
That's funny. I didn't feel that. I felt he was, because what it sounds like you're saying, because it wasn't a consistent performance until it was just him, Giamatti, and the cafeteria worker. Is that a fair statement? He elevated his performance, in your opinion, his actual performance improved.
Yes.
In those sections. So leading up to that, you said he wasn't believable. So
I didn't say he wasn't believable. I said he wasn't as believable. And that's the whole thing. I think
what's the difference? He wasn't believable, or he wasn't as believable, but he wasn't believable.
What do you mean, what's the difference, Troy? Like, it's not, we're not dealing in absolutes here. People can give a decent performance. People can give an amazing performance. People can give a shit performance.
No.
People
but you just said it. You said he wasn't as believable.
Yes, he wasn't as believable. I'm not saying he wasn't believable.
In those moments, right? That's what I'm saying.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
We're splitting hairs here. As believable. Okay, as believable.
Are you saying that I thought he was shit? I thought he was shit. You're saying that I thought he was shit when he was acting against the kids, really good against Paul Giamatti. I'm not saying that. I am. Oh my God, dude! I am saying that there is that I thought he did a better job against Paul Giamatti than he did against the kids.
So his performance was inconsistent to you. That's what I'm saying. I
did think he was inconsistent.
You said when you say he wasn't as believable, that's basically saying the role he's portraying, you didn't buy it. You didn't feel like he was that character
as much. Correct.
Right. So that's
I
thought a good performance as opposed to when he was with Giamatti.
As good of a performance. Like I'm not trying to say he was absolute shit or anything when he was against those kids. I'm not saying
you're saying that. I'm just
okay. I mean, it just seems like you're trying to like say that I think he was crap during those scenes, and I thought he was only good with Paul Giamatti.
But you said you weren't that tuned into the movie. Like, if the movie didn't compel you because, you hang your hat on the performance of this kid. Like, if this kid doesn't work, and that's my opinion, that's why it's a little surprising to hear that, for you felt it was inconsistent because, I don't know, I didn't have a problem believing him as that character. Like, I was compelled from the beginning because I felt like he was compelling. Definitely when the other kids were gone and it became more laser focused on the three, then the movie went up another notch.
Right.
Because that's truly what the story's about, those three.
Sure.
All the side characters were kind of like cleared away. You can kind of focus in on that.
And I agree with that statement too. I do agree that it got deeper at that point, but I still thought he did a better job when he was acting across from Paul Giamatti than when he was acting across from anyone else. Because Paul Giamatti is a powerhouse and he is going to make everyone else do better. just because since acting is reacting and now he has Paul Giamatti to react to, he's automatically going to do better. And I noticed that personally.
Okay.
So that's all I'm saying.
No, fair enough. So what were we talking about? So we were talking about Giamatti's performance.
Dude.
And he's amazing. I think we've established that. Could watch this guy read a fucking menu.
Dude, I really want to know if he does. Like, I would listen to Audible books that he reads just because he's reading them. You know what I mean? Like, I would does Paul Giamatti do any Audible books? Yes, it's about like, penile cancer in, a small,
which is a great
in a
last
small
insult,
town
by the way.
in Germany. Yeah, exactly. And I would be like, I will listen to that because it's Paul Giamatti, so it's going to be good.
He has this innate thing. Even when he's playing the dick, there's a humanity that he evokes, right? And like you never really, well, I guess with exceptions, right? Sure, I guess you hate his character when you're supposed to hate him, but like this, well, we'll talk about this character, Paul Hunnam, a classics teacher at Barton Academy boarding school. Now, this character with a lazy eye.
Oh my god. The wall-eyed fuck.
The wall-eye. Yeah, wall-eye. He's playing, he's a bitter, cranky guy, right? He's one of these teachers. I think we've all had a teacher or professor. Like, you look at it, the person and you're like, holy shit, what happened to you?
Yeah, exactly.
To make you, put you here, and it's so obvious you hate your life.
Totally.
Like, you're just relishing, like, you have the superior power over these students. And you're lording over it. That's your little, like...
Your fiefdom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He plays that guy.
Dude, he is fucking hilarious.
Even when he's being a dick, he's still kind of a likable dick. There's just something about Paul Giamatti where it's hard to just completely hate him.
Dude, I love when he's handing out everyone's finals, and all the grades are coming down, and you see F+. Someone got an F+. That's
right. I love that.
I can tell by your faces that many of you are shocked at the outcome. I, on the other hand, am not, because I have had the misfortune of teaching you this semester, and even with my ocular limitations, I witnessed firsthand your glazed, uncomprehending expressions.
Sir, I don't understand.
That's glaringly apparent.
No, it's... I can't fail this class.
Oh, don't sell yourself short, Mr. Coates. I truly believe that you can.
I'm supposed to go to Cornell.
Unlikely.
Divine Joy Randolph, who plays Mary Lamb, Barton head cook and bereaved mother. So her son was killed in Vietnam, correct? Mm-hmm. Recently so, correct?
Yeah, it's pretty messed up, like how that all happened. How she got the job there in order to get him a good education, right. And then he got into like Harvard or Princeton or something, but they couldn't afford to send him.
Mm-hmm.
And so he ended up going into the Army, and he said he was going to be able to get out and go to college on a GI Bill, and ends up dying for a useless death in Vietnam.
Right.
So.
Working class mom scraped and struggled and sacrificed to get her kid this experience, and then it was just snatched from her.
I was engaged to Curtis's father, but he died before I gave birth. Harold. He worked in the shipyard, and one day they was carrying this big cargo pallet, and the cable snapped. Hit him right across the head. They were good men, both of them. And neither of them made it to 25. My baby wasn't even 20.
I'm so sorry.
I took this job when Curtis was small because I wanted to ensure that he was going to have a good education. He flourished here.
Yes. No, he was a great kid. I had him one semester. Very insightful.
He hated you. He said you were a real asshole.
Well, like I said, sharp kid, insightful.
And all three characters, I would say, although different molds, have that commonality. Whereas the kid, his mother, would you say not loving? Or like, how would you define their relationship?
So it starts out, you know that he's in a well-to-do family where his stepfather is very rich, has a lot of money. You don't really know what's going on with his father. You think his father's dead. Turns out his father has mental issues that had developed over a few years.
Becomes a major plot point later.
And I think like in a lot of movies and probably in reality, the mom starts a new life with this new man and ships her son off to boarding school because she doesn't want to be reminded of her old life, her old husband, and all the BS that came along with it. What's really messed up is like he thinks he's going to like St. Bart's or St. Croix or something, somewhere in the Bahamas, and she calls like the day he's supposed to go home and is like, oh, by the way, you need to stay at school. I'm just going to go with your stepdad because we never had our honeymoon. And he's like, what the fuck? Like, are you kidding me? As anyone would be, like, are you fucking kidding me? And then he like begs her not to do it. And she just leaves his ass there. It was fucked up.
And salt in the wound is that, for the first 20 minutes, it's him and a handful of other students.
Oh, right.
Who don't have an option. They have to stay.
Right.
And then one student
who's a fucking asshole.
Well, there's one that's asshole, and there's one that's like, the only reason he's there, he wouldn't cut his hair.
Oh, right.
He's like, yeah, it's a waiting game. He'll come around probably.
Yeah, totally.
And he comes around like his dad like sends a fucking
shows up in a fucking helicopter,
right?
Picks him up to go skiing.
And the kid, Tully's his last name, Angus Tully. He's like, great, but he doesn't have permission and can't get in touch with his mom, so it's a double whammy. Like, another opportunity to go somewhere skiing. I think they were going, and have fun. And yet again, the mom fails just by not being available. So now he's stuck with Paul Giamatti and the cook.
Dude, that one kid was such a fucking asshole.
Yeah, he was.
Stole his picture of him and his mom and his dad when he was a kid, and then wrote like fuckwad or something on it, and then gave it back to him. I was like, what a fucking asshole. Like, shit like this just makes me fucking hate children.
Then there's a scene where I think Giamatti invited Mary to sit and have dinner.
Right.
And she was like, no thanks, it's okay. And then that little shithead was like, is that appropriate or what? Like,
he was just an asshole.
She's just getting paid to do this. Why should we feel sorry? Like isn't it time to get over her son?
Fuck that dude.
Said something. Giamatti went off.
Yeah.
Like,
as he should.
Because what you find out later is Giamatti, he's not a privileged kid, right? He had to struggle. And I think probably has a resentment towards these elites, the children of the elite. Shit just handed to him.
Well, the movie starts out with him getting chastised by the headmaster of the school who is actually a kid who he used to teach.
Yeah.
And he's being chastised because he failed this kid who is the child of a congressperson, and all the trouble it caused the headmaster. And he says that kid was too dumb to pour piss out of a boot. What a fucking great line! Oh my god, it was funny.
When he said that, it kind of threw me for a split second because I'm like, what? That guy, the headmaster, looks kind of old, like.
Yeah, he just has a beard.
But anyway, whatever. But it's still
and it's the 70s, so everyone looks older than they actually are. He was probably 30. He was probably 30 years old.
Oh, that reminds me. It was refreshing to see all the smoking in this film.
Yeah,
that's another thing that dated it. Like every meal and just everyone's like lighting up.
But what else does he say? What does he say to that kid when he's being an asshole at the breakfast table?
You know, Mr. Kuntz, for most people, life is like a henhouse ladder, shitty and short. You were born lucky. Maybe someday you entitled little degenerates will appreciate that. If you don't, I feel sorry for you.
Shitty and short. Yeah, that's a great line, dude. I might have to co-opt that.
That's a fucking good one.
You're talking about a metaphor. That is a perfect visualization right there.
I know. Well, tell you the truth, I was watching this movie and all the metaphors, I was just thinking, this is Troy. This is fucking Troy right here. Mr. Metaphors movie.
Yeah.
Troy wishes he had as good of metaphors as this guy.
And sometimes I smell like fish. That's the other thing we're trying to...
That was fucking...
He has a condition where he's... Wasn't it fish? It's like a fishy smell. Or?
He can't fucking break down like triptochloride or something.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Maybe it was something else. And so by the end of the day, like his body ends up emitting this smell because it's all of the buildup of that chemical in his body or on his skin, and it smells like fish.
And his solution in one scene is like they're going to a party. Glade.
It's Glade.
He's like spraying Glade on his armpits. Like, my God.
Oh man, how fucked up was it? Like, how much chemistry him and the one girl had, the one lady had, the one who brought him the cookies.
Right.
So much chemistry, and the kid even was like, God, you guys got major chemistry.
Right.
You're like, what? No way. And it totally seems like they do, and they're talking it up at the party, and everything seems nice. And then, oh, I gotta go get the door. She gets the door, and her boyfriend walks in, and you're just like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah. Unfortunately, I know that feeling. Like,
yeah, no shit, right? And so, you know what kind of annoyed me, though, was that when they see each other later, I feel like she pulls back. Like, she has pulled back at that point. And
after that moment?
Yeah, after that moment. Like, later on in the movie, like, after all the kids have come back to the school and he's leaving, or someone comes to talk, she comes to talk to him about something. I really feel a pullback from her. And I thought it would have made more sense to still feel that connection.
Like she's oblivious.
Like she's oblivious to it, right. Exactly. And because it felt like, oh, now she knows. Even though all the way up until the moment the boyfriend walked in the door, you could feel it. It was very apparent. I thought that was kind of a weird choice.
Well, yeah, and I don't specifically remember that, but I think I kind of recall. And
but doesn't it make sense to like keep that going?
It would have been. It would be more interesting unless Giamatti made a very small move that
which he didn't.
Well, he didn't. He absolutely didn't. And then that would have made it even more awkward, right?
Yeah.
And that would support what happened later. Yeah, I felt bad for the guy.
Yeah.
Well, all three of them are like suffering individuals. And that's the thing, though. The movie did a really good job of having really good dramatic moments along with the humor, which is what I think any good drama can do. Like, it's not necessary, but it's always nice.
Right.
Because life is like that. You're laughing one minute, you're crying the next. So at the party, there's an amazing scene with the record.
Oh, right.
When she wants to play this record because it was one that her son loved, I believe, right?
Yeah, I believe
song.
so.
The party goer's like, hey, bring it down the vibe. What'd she say? You touch this fucking record, I'll kill you. Something like that, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, she did a really good job. Like, no one, in my opinion, no one overplayed their hand. Like, she was very understated. She could have easily went a grieved mother wearing a sleeve, but the way she played it was much more realistic, I think, for someone like that.
I'd have to agree.
And it made sense for who she was. She's a woman that been through fucking probably hell in her life, worked her ass off, and shit goes on. She's got to keep working, man. She's got to keep, I
was a little surprised that in like 1970, like, wasn't shit still pretty like
racist?
Yeah, like there were like plenty of black kids at this boarding school. I mean, not plenty, but definitely a few. It seemed like,
well, other than her son, were there other ones?
At the beginning of the movie, like when they're panning through the main like lunch area, like they showed at least 5, 6, or 7 of them. Okay. You know what I mean? Like 7 kids, and I was like, maybe it just because it wasn't the point of the movie, right? The point of the movie wasn't the racism of the time.
There was a little bit of racism, though.
Right.
With the Asian kid, right?
Oh, yeah, with the Asian kid. Yeah, that, right.
He had made some comment about a rickshaw.
But the whole thing was, that was the asshole kid, right? It was the asshole kid who made that joke. So, yeah, an asshole person is going to do that, but I feel like in 1970s, it was pretty rampant to just like casual racism everywhere.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
it could be just where you're at in the country, like the degrees of it, right?
But I'm just saying, I was kind of surprised. Like in 1970, I thought there was going to be a little bit more discussion about, or more apparent racism within the movie.
And if they were going to do it, there's prime real estate to do it with her character.
Yeah.
And
like when she walks into the restaurant like all super late and they want Cherry's Jubilee, like the lady was, everyone was very kind and you didn't see any sort of like,
right.
It's
nose upturned, like,
exactly. And I kind of expected to see that a little bit here and there.
And it's, now that you mention it, it feels like drama left on the table that they could have used. Like,
yeah,
you didn't have to beat us over the head with it. But it's yet another example of class division. You know what I mean? And that's just that's a low-hanging fruit one, right? So
yeah, it's kind of, like I said, it's just kind of surprising. I expected to see more of that since it was 1970.
Yeah. Probably intuitively, I thought, okay, the black woman cook, preppy white assholes, let's have at it. I think the closest we got to it was his dismissiveness, the snobby kid.
At the table.
Eating with us.
Yeah.
And I took it was less about her color. It was more or less, she's the help.
Yeah.
Like, why,
exactly.
Why are we inviting her? So. Oh, the hooker scene. Do you remember that?
That was pretty funny.
Like the hooker thing, there was a little bit, it's semi-autobiographical, just in terms of certain moments. It was written by David Hemmingson. So the moment he was was with his grandfather or something, and a hooker walked up to him and the kid can wait around the corner. You want to have some fun.
Candy cane.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, the Cherries Jubilee thing is something that happened to me and my mother. So peppered throughout, there's real life occurrences.
Totally.
And he went to a boarding school too. So
I feel like most good writers pull little tidbits of fun stuff from their own life and squeeze them in there. I mean, you're a writer. Would you agree with that statement?
Yeah, I mean, whatever you're writing, you have to identify in some component, right? Like if you're writing a bad guy, you have to understand the bad guy, quote unquote bad guy, and the bad guy doesn't think they're a bad guy. They have reasons for why they're doing it, and you have to
exactly,
sympathize, empathize. And I think, especially with something that this film had an actual personal depth, you feel it. It feels like a love letter to the time.
Yeah, it really does.
It doesn't feel mean-spirited without being toothless. You know what I mean? It walks a great line between funny, heartbreaking, heartwarming, and it has a kind of I'd say an uplifting ending. I have a question about the last end shot though, but he connects with this kid, Paul Giamatti, and the kid connects with him. And then almost near the end, they're at a movie. They're at Little Big Man, I believe.
Yep.
The kid sneaks off. Giamatti realizes he's gone, hurries out, see the kid's getting in a taxi. He thinks the kid's trying to duck him again. And he's like, no, I got to take care of something. And he's like, I'm coming with you. So what he's taking care of, he wants to see his dad, who's in the mental hospital.
Yeah, he's in a mental hospital.
And that was kind of a heartbreaking thing where he sits and talks to his dad, and you think, he's getting a lot of things off his chest, and the dad just, first thing out of his mouth is something fucking crazy.
Yeah.
So
I think they're putting something in my food.
Right. Long story short, when school's back in session, they find out, his mom finds out that, because he left his dad a gift.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then the dad used the gift, I forget what the gift was, to try to bludgeon a nurse or something like that. So Giamatti's in hot water because he took the kid to see his dad. Even though it was a kid's idea, Giamatti
takes the fall, basically.
Takes the fall and was like, it was my idea. And basically gives a great speech about how this kid is great and you guys don't see the potential. He's basically quitting. I mean, he got fired, but it's his quitting speech. Because the dean axes him after that.
Yep.
He's got to take the fall for it.
It was my idea. No, he didn't trick me or slip the leash. I took him to see his father. In fact, I convinced him to do so.
This is a family matter, and you had no right to interfere.
I don't give a shit. I said I don't give a shit. You two were unreachable. He was all alone at Christmas. I thought the kid should see his father.
Do you understand what you've done? I have to move Tom now. It was hard even finding a facility that would take him. And now, I have to move him.
And that is deeply unfortunate. But why compound the misery by ruining the boy? I have just spent 2 solid weeks with him. He is a pain in the ass, sure, but he's also very smart. Brilliant, I don't know, but very smart. You must know that. He's got enormous potential. It would be devastating if you pulled him out now.
Hey, what was the final insult? Dick cancer? Your dick cancer.
He says, you are penis cancer in human form.
That's the thing about Giamatti, dude. No one gives an insult like Paul Giamatti.
Yeah, absolutely.
Holy shit, dude.
Well, what about when you find out about Paul Giamatti? You find out why he's still teaching at that place.
There was an incident when I was at Harvard with my roommate.
And?
He accused me of copying from his senior thesis, plagiarizing.
Well, did you?
No, he stole from me. That blue-blooded prick's family had allies on the faculty. I mean, their last name is on a library, for Christ's sake. So he accused me in order to sanitize his treachery, and they threw me out.
Hey, so you got kicked out of Harvard for cheating?
No, I got kicked out of Harvard for hitting him.
You hit him? What, like punched him out?
Nope, I hit him with a car.
You got kicked out of Harvard for hitting a guy with a car?
By accident. Pint of Jim Beam, please. But he broke 3 ribs, which was technically his fault because he shouldn't have been in the road.
$2, please.
Also, he shot himself, which was the greater indignity.
Here you go, killer.
And how he gave the information was great because it was he didn't want to talk about it. The kid was digging and he was giving him each new piece of information was like, what? Escalated the story.
Yeah.
So his reputation is ruined. So he's kind of got no other way to get work, basically.
Right. And so his buddy, or not his buddy, but a teacher at the school that he works at currently was like, oh, well, let me give you a job, and started him at the bottom, and he just kind of stayed there. And that's what he does now. He teaches at that school.
That sets up great this other moment where he's out with Tully, or the kid, and he sees someone from that time.
Yeah, that happens. That's what triggers the conversation. And him seeing him.
Right, and the kid helps him make up a story.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't want to admit that he's actually still there.
He's writing a book. He's like, oh, really? What about? What is it? Ancient cameras or something? Right, Uncle, whatever your name is? And he was like, it's like, yes, not ancient cameras, the camera obscura, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, ancient cameras? What the hell? He's like, I got to keep you on your toes, man. Yeah. That was a great little moment. That really showed their bond was like complete. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like they really were close. They were lifelong friends at that point, it felt like to me.
And we can't overlook this was a kind of a big turning point where the kid was running through the school and Giamatti was chasing after him. Right. And the kid does like a somersault and fucking dislocates his shoulder.
Stop right there. You know the gym is strictly off limits. This is your Rubicon. Do not cross the Rubicon.
Alea jacta est.
Giamatti's got to race from the hospital, and they think, fuck, the jig is up.
I'm going to lose my job. Yeah. You're going to have to tell your parents.
And the kid begs him to go along with the lie, right? Like that, or he lies on the spot.
Well, he doesn't beg him. He just starts lying on the spot.
If you could fill this out, please. Admissions and insurance.
Excuse me? Is there any way we could skip this whole insurance thing? We were over at Squan's Pond playing hockey, and I slipped on the ice.
Angus, what are you doing?
My mom told him not to take me, but I made him. Look, my folks are divorced. We don't get to see each other very often. She'll be mad as a hornet if she finds out.
Okay, that's your business, but we just have certain protocols.
Yeah, protocols?
Please. I never get to see my dad. It was my fault, all mine. I don't want to get him in any trouble. I don't want her dragging you into court again. We can skip the insurance thing. We can pay cash. Right, Dad?
So yeah, that was a really good moment, and he gives him a hard time. He's like, "We do not lie."
That's the other thing.
Men from the school do not lie.
Right?
Yeah,
and
Barrett men don't lie.
That was the first lie, and then the kid on the spot came up with the lie to kind of help Giamatti through that really awkward moment.
Yep.
And then at the end, he helps saves the kid by keeping him in school by lying and taking the hit.
Yep.
So it was a nice full circle. A lie is a lie, but if you're lying to protect someone you really love and care about, and also the world isn't cut and dry. Like,
right.
You could tell the truth and still get shit on while liars rise to the top. So,
well, was the guy he saw, was that the guy he hit with the car? Like, I wasn't sure. It seemed like, because afterwards he said, that guy's an asshole. Like, he didn't deserve to know what was going on with my life. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't sure.
I didn't take it as that. I just took it as he was kind of looked down upon.
Oh, okay.
And you could be right. I
don't really know, to tell you the truth.
I didn't read it that way. I read it as,
I didn't really read it that way, like, in the situation, but when he was talking about the guy after the fact, it kind of seemed like I was thinking to myself, is that the guy? Like, is that the guy that he's talking about that he hit with the fucking car? And I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm not really sure. Could be either way.
The way I read it, like the guy hit with the car, they probably all ran in kind of same circles, the same posh elitist circles.
Exactly.
So he lumps them. They're all a kind of collective organism in his mind. And seeing him is, I think if it was the guy, he would have had a much more aggressive or standoffish tone, maybe.
You would think so. You would think so.
You know, I don't know. But that would have been interesting if it was that guy.
Yeah.
Because that would have been fucking awkward as shit.
Dude, could you imagine?
So at the end, you know, he basically boxes up his shit. He's leaving. He says goodbye to everyone. He knows driving out the driveway of the school, I think that's where it is. He either go left or right. He takes a swig of, let's say, Jim Beam.
No.
And spits it out.
No,
Is that
what was not Jim Beam.
What was it?
That was Louis the 13th. He stole that from the headmaster. And you are going to shit your pants when you hear how much this fucking alcohol is. You ready?
Sure.
$4,100.
Jesus. Wait, so did they didn't show him taking it, I guess, right? Or did I miss that?
They didn't show him taking it. They did not show him taking it.
But they established it earlier that it was.
Yep.
Okay. It's better for the plot if it is. The more it is, the better dig or final like F you. So why does he spit it out though? Is that him like turning a new leaf?
No, I don't think so. I think that was more of a fuck you. I stole your fucking expensive ass alcohol and I can do whatever the fuck I want. Yeah, I'm gonna take a swig and fuck you and spit it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I didn't make that connection. When I saw him do that, I'm like, what does that symbolize? Oh, how about the I'm guessing he was school janitor, the black dude.
Yeah.
And he was like, somebody puked in the gym. Anybody know anything about that? Everyone's like,
nope.
And he just leaves the mopping bucket.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you motherfuckers clean it up. I'm not cleaning it up. And he was trying to get in on
yeah, he wanted a little divine.
Yeah, she won't having it yet, I'd say.
Nope.
Give her time, man. Give her time.
We got to talk about the basement. When he's in the basement and he kisses that girl.
Oh, that was a nice little moment, yeah.
It took me back to when I was like 15.
Yeah.
And I was having an intimate moment with a girl for the first or, close to the first time. And it was just, the
sweetness of it, the electricity of that.
The electricity. Yeah. That's what it was. It was just like so much chemistry. And it was so funny. She's like, were you trying to look down my shirt? He's like, no. Yes. And then she like smiles and then she starts painting, doing the finger painting and like leans even further forward. I was like, well, now she's definitely giving you a chance to look down there, buddy. I thought that was pretty funny.
And that thing, I'm sure that's part of what Giamatti saw in the kid. Like, here's a guy starting his journey and they share similar traits or similar paths. And Giamatti's, let's face it, near the end of his journey, and life didn't turn out the way he wanted it to. I don't know if he changed forever at the end of the movie, but he changed that kid's life at least.
Totally.
And for him, that's a win. That's a win all the way around, I'd say. Did you have a favorite part? Anything stick out?
So which eye do I look into? Like, is it that one? Or is it that one? How do I know? Like sometimes I think it's just supposed to be that one, and then I look into it a while, and then I'm like, wait, but maybe it should be, maybe it's the other one. And I start looking at that one, and then I start second guessing myself. I don't even know which eye to look into. And he was like, yeah, that happens all the time. And he was like, well, which eye do I look into? And he's like, It just goes about his business and doesn't tell him until the very end, after he's saved him from getting expelled, basically. And he was like, this is the one you look into. And then you realize that it's over for him.
And he's saying it with such emotion. You know what I mean? It's a very tender, emotional moment. It's not played for laughs, but what an amazing payoff.
Yeah. Really was. Because
the eye thing was like a thing, they didn't harp on it, but it was a thing, and then they had that moment.
Does he have a lazy eye in real life?
No.
So did they give him like a prosthetic to like wear?
He was on Armchair Expert with Dax Shepard. Dax was watching with Kristen Bell, and Kristen looked at Dax like, "Does Paul Giamatti have a lazy eye? I never noticed." No, it's a fake. It's a like a lens, but he was essentially blind in that eye.
Oh,
like
my
he couldn't
God.
see out of the eye. But Dax was like, "Holy shit! Does he have a lazy eye?"
Yeah, I didn't think he did. That's why I was confused.
The trailer was so great, if you remember the trailer, because the last scene in the trailer pauses on a big close up of him and the eye.
With his eyes
it's
all
just
over
Oh. Anything else, man? What else can we say about this wonderful film? I
don't know. I think I'm gonna rate it.
Let's rate this bad boy.
Why don't you go first? What are you gonna rate it, buddy?
I'm gonna give this 4.5 walleyes out of 5.
I'm gonna give it 4.5 third-degree sunburnt dickheads out of 5.
I forgot about that. The kids come back and they're like, he's all like peeling.
He's like fucking like bright red. He's like, man, the reflection off the slopes, man, it just fried my ass. Like, yeah, no shit it did, dude.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent news story, and I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
So if you would like to support this show, keep us going, keep us rolling along, uploading content, you can support us by going to patreon.com/baldguysbadmovies and donate to the show. We're going to use those funds to make sure we can see any movies that you guys want to see and getting our studio set up so we can start recording video and doing these not just audio but also video on YouTube. And once a month, we will pick a patron to choose a movie for us to review. And we'll review it. We'll dedicate it to you. But either way, we just hope you enjoy the show and keep on coming back.
Life is like a henhouse ladder, shitty and short.